Hello everyone and welcome back to Of Bricks and Dragons. We are working on our third episode of our Star Trek Adventures role-playing game. So as we get going here, we have our characters out here. We have our, we have white, there's our yellow, and of course here's red. Okay, so we're going to finish this up here today, and then from this point on I'm going to start, I've already kind of worked on a little bit of it, not trying to work out ideas, but I'm working on trying to get my own campaign going, so we will have a nice ongoing campaign and hopefully a good story arc to follow through with. Alright, so if you remember in the last two, we ran up against what were the neuroparasites that we had originally seen in Star Trek The Next Generation first season, and they have seemed to return. They did not seem to be working with Klingons very well, but they did seem to be able to latch onto the Romulans. So now we are here with Pierce the Veil, Part 3, and I'm just going to start reading through some of the synopsis and everything else. So if you're kind of going through this with your own group and that, here we go. Alright, so our synopsis here: this mission opens up with the player characters either on their ship or as prisoners on Cordian 4. However, they manage to return to their vessel, the Romulan warbird Decius soon reappears. So now we're going to have a Romulan warship here. I've got, I don't know how well you guys can see it, on the very edge of my table here today, and I'm moving the camera just up a little bit. I found this is not all of the miniatures I had, and these are pretty much micro machines except for one. I do have one HeroClix ship, so if we're going to do some ship combat, which I do believe is some of the things that are being thrown out here today, I'm moving us from the Oberth of what we were using to a ship I kind of created. It's a Merced class vessel, so it is very similar to an Excelsior, except it is a lot smaller scale. So this is only a ship that was, at its height, was only really meant for about 50 people. So, you know, that's really where we are. I'm just going to throw this one out for our Romulan ship, if this is what's coming up. And I don't seem to have my dice out quite yet, but I will have them out here in a second, because I have them sitting here in a cup. Alright. So, the Romulan war soon appears. Okay. A Centurion who has taken command offers a truce and valuable information. He has located the Iconian Gateway and Mother Creature. Moments after he transmits the coordinates, the Decius explodes. So I guess we're not doing ship combat. Alright. The player characters then discover their own ship has been sabotaged by a computer virus. They race to get systems back online before the Romulan warbird, Lacanta, arrives and accuses them of destroying the Decius. Convincing the Lacanta to let them go, the player characters follow the coordinates from the Decius to the Moana system, but before they can send an away team to the planet's surface, they must first defeat a Romulan warbird. So I guess it's good to have that out there anyways. So however you want to have your characters do it, you know, just doing some good speech checks and stuff like that. If you're a big fan of Star Trek, which you probably are if you're playing this, Captain Picard was very good at being able to talk people down. That was one of his kind of bigger traits that they had done. And Gene Roddenberry had kind of preferred things that way when he was alive. Later on, they got a little bit more hands-on with things. Let's see. Once on the Moana 3, An away team explores the ruins of an ancient civilization, evades Romulan guards, and finds an unexpected ally. Ensign Lascelles, who left Starbase 117 against orders to fight the parasites. To get to the Iconian Gateway in the facility beneath the ruins, the player characters may use stealth, subterfuge, or force. There they encounter the parasitic mother creature. As the Enterprise crew discovered if the mother creature is killed, the remaining parasitic beings in her colony will also be destroyed. When the Iconian Gateway powers up, it reveals that the parasitic beings' home planet is lifeless. They are the last of their kind. In desperation, the mother creature offers the player characters a deal. Let the parasitic beings control the Romulan Star Empire, and they will make permanent peace with the Federation. Player character's choice might just determine the future of the galaxy. So that's the whole thing in a nutshell. So, alright, so now we have this campaign. The Pierced Veil begins moments after the events of We Are Not Ourselves. Depending on how the last mission ended, the mission could begin with one of two ways. If the player characters defeat the Romulans and the Klingon, on the frozen moon of Cordian 4, this mission opens aboard their ship. If they were taken prisoner, they must first escape captivity. Now, if I had actually gone through combat, this would have allowed me, in my horrible rolling, to still be alive. We woke up there. But because last time I started really abbreviating the combat, that way we're still reinforcing the rules and how things go, but not quite going through because I just roll horrible. I'm thinking of getting the captain's log, so that way maybe I can figure out how they prefer to have us abbreviate combat, but one way or the other, I'm gonna have to figure something out. And having the specialized dice, and I'm not gonna go and try and buy loaded dice, for crying out loud. That's just wrong. It just kind of stinks that I just roll horribly, and I always have. So, all right. So the directives. In addition to the prime directive, the directives for this mission are: 1, respect all life. Respect for all life is paramount. So, whatever the characters decide to do. I mean, this, really the synopsis is really about how I word everything up in my campaigns, because I don't know where the group is going. And it is kind of nice that, when you read through the synopsis, this gives you the idea of everything else. And then we have, when you look at this, we have letters in like a kind of a purple, pinkish kind of color, whatever. That's the stuff that you kind of read out. Otherwise, we have white print, which is really meant for your game master here. Let's see, we have a parasitic life scan that's on here, so if you wanted to throw something like that out, just to razzle dazzle people, for like a science person or whatever. I mean, we all get into Star Trek with our own, how we want this to go, just like any other role-playing game. So that's the big thing here. All right, so I'm going to read off our captain's log here. Oh, I'm sorry, the directives. We have a second directive here. Whenever possible, seek out non-military resolutions. I'm dealing with a group of guys. If we were to play this, I mean, we're former military, so we do a little bit more military solutions to things, whether it's good or bad or whatever the case may be. I'm not going to say one way is better than the other, although I have kind of mentions, like, if I'm being shot at and I have beings trying to kill me, I will return in that same force, in a very Starfleetish way, or however you want to consider it. even in martial arts and stuff like that, and I've done some martial arts too. You know, you only use the same amount of force, or the amount of force that's required to deal with the situation. You don't go above and beyond. That's what we're looking at. Unfortunately, if I'm in a gunfight, I'm in a gunfight. I'm not trying to stun everybody and then hope that they don't wake up and turn around and shoot at me again. But that's me. Everybody plays it how they feel this should go. Because when you look at the original series, which had a lot of fisticuffs, I mean, Kirk was throwing punches left and right because Westerns were very popular. In the Next Generation, stunning was very popular. But when you get into the Dominion War, they did not stun very much. They were actually shooting to kill. So depending on what era you prefer and what other series. Now, I don't know what they're doing in Discovery. I did not get into that. I tried watching it. I couldn't get into it myself. I don't know how they did it on theirs. So it's just how things are. All right. So to the captain's log. Start date 47536.5. How deep does the parasitic infiltration of the Romulan Star Empire go? Does it extend to the Starfleet? To the ship? My crew? I fear it is only a matter of time, but how do I weigh the ideals of the Federation against the existential threat posed by these parasitic beings who seem to have no respect for any life but their own? Scene 1, the escape. Now, I believe that we did not get ourselves imprisoned. So that's the one where I'm going, because I think I did it one of two ways, because they did have it written out that way. Although we didn't actually have our characters imprisoned. Alright. But the escape, to set the scene, read the following aloud. Let's see here. Moments ago, you regain consciousness to find yourselves prisoners of the neural parasites. For now, there is no sign of your captors or the unjoined Trill, Taldaran. The other prisoners in the cells next to yours are too afraid to even speak to you. With no weapons or tools and no way to contact your ship, your only hope is to somehow break through the prison bars, examine them, and find that some of the bars are loose. Alright. So at this point, you're going to have a roll to be made if you want. If you and your group are stuck in there, there's a roll to be made, and in this regard, you're going to have a daring or a fitness plus security task with a difficulty of 2. So I'll get my dice out here. As you hear my dice rattle here. The ones I have handy are my Fallout dice, and I think I put them all together after the last game here. So I think I have Fallout dice and Star Wars or Star Trek dice, all kind of mixed, although the ones I'm seeing here are just the Fallouts. So I guess I don't have the Star Trek ones in here. Alright. Nope, I want to leave one of those out. That's my random die for who gets shot at this moment. And then I have a box here, so yeah, and that has the other dice up. Alright, here we go. So now we got dice here, just off to the side if I need those dice. Otherwise, you know, the nice thing is, whether if you're using Fallout, I actually saw some Cthulhu dice. So if you wanted to get some Cthulhu dice, you could get some of those, and it's doing the same thing. You still have the same D20s, and you still only have the 4 sides. So it's the same system whether you're doing Fallout, Star Trek, Cthulhu. If you find some of the Conan dice, It's all the same system, so you could get some different ones for some different looks, and that is kind of wonderful. Move my mouse over here a little bit. All right, so I'm just going to see if most likely my characters would have been captured. So I'm going to do a little roll here. See how bad my characters would be. Let's see here. Probably fitness and security. Fitness of 10, security is 4. So I have a 14 or less. I have to get 2 successes. So I got 1, but I didn't get the other. And then this one's got fitness of 9, security of 2, so that's an 11. That one actually made it. So, oops, and I'm rolling and you guys can't even see. All right, that's not kind of helping me here. All right, there we go. Here, kind of move that out of the way. Okay. Trying to do this so you guys can see, because I don't want to fudge dice and all that. If I'm going to fudge something, I'll let you guys know. I like to be honest. So if anything else, I like to be honest with what's going on and how bad I'm doing things. I've done that the entire time that we've been trying to do our role-playing games, and I've had characters kind of killed off, and I admitted I fudged it because otherwise they'd be dead and my characters would be gone. All right, so we would actually get that through. Let's see. Just as characters have stress, objects have structure. If an object suffers an injury, it breaks. The bars have a structure of 10 with a resistance of 2. All right. So this is just essentially saying that we're doing an attack to the bars that are imprisoning us, or if you get so if I'm trying to attack, let's see, what would that be? Oh, okay. So essentially what we're doing is we're just flat out attacking the bars. So we're all taking turns. And we're doing, for every success, all right, if the task is successful, they inflict 1 damage or 1 damage plus the main character's security discipline. So this one has a security of 2. So I think what they're saying is I roll 3 dice, I do 2 damage. The bars have 10 points in all. So let me flip back a page here and get a pen. All right. So we'll have the bars. 10. It's now been down to what, 8? And then we'll just keep going back and forth. So my next one has got what, a 10 and a 4, so that's a 14. And I get only a single. Alright, and I get a 14 here. And I don't make it. And I only had an 11 there. And now he doesn't make it. And we just keep going back and forth. I mean, it's just attack after attack against something that's not going to really do anything. So that would have been this one over here, I believe. Which would be what, 4. Whoop. And I drop a die. Alright, so I got 4 or 5 dice to roll, and I get just 2 successes, so that just takes it down to 6. So eventually we're going to work our way out. I'm just going to kind of stop right there. We will work our way out. It's not like we're being attacked, and we go from there. Alright. Now we've pried 2 bars loose, enough to slip through. The other prisoners eye you wearily as you make your escape, as if they know something you don't. Surprisingly, there appears to be no control panel to unlock the cells. The only way to free the prisoners is to loosen the bars with force or find your phasers. However, a quick survey of the chamber shows no sign of your equipment. Just then you hear footsteps in the tunnel beyond the chamber. A moment later, the Trill, Taldaran, appears. Now we have the Return of Taldaran, which has got a little information for us as Game Masters. The players encounter Taldaran, or encounter with Taldaran, will go differently depending on whether they made an ally of him in the previous mission, which we did. If he is an ally, he arrives with the weapons, comm badges, and tricorders. They immediately receive a communication from their ship. Read the following aloud. Commander, moments ago a Romulan warbird decloaked in orbit and destroyed the Tellarite freighter. As it left the surface, their only response to our hails so far has been to lower shields and power down weapons. If you're ready, I think it would be prudent to bring the away team back before the Romulans decide a more aggressive posture is to their advantage. Now, at this point, Taldaran explains to them that the two parasite-controlled Romulans were aboard that freighter. The Klingon remained behind and is presently asleep in his quarters. If the players want to take the Klingon prisoner before returning to their ship, which would enable them to study the neural parasites in scene 3, Taldaran can lead them to him. Entering the Klingon's quarters without waking him is a daring plus security task with a difficulty of 2. So, now here again, you have that question: do you want to take them along or not? Trying to remember exactly what kind of a condition that Klingon was in, and because this has been a week and I've been busy with a lot of other things, I'm just kind of drawing a blank as to what kind of condition he was in, if he was very friendly with us or not. I remember that they were trying to essentially genetically de-evolve them. I do remember that part. Dun, da, da, da. I just don't know. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to we're going to get back up to the ship. So I think we're going to go to there. So we're going to go to scene 2, and we're going to get to the ship. So once the player characters have returned to their ship, the Romulan... Oh, before that, we're going to free the prisoners, because let me just say this, because we are Starfleet and we should be doing the right thing. We're going to free the prisoners. We will beam up to the ship, and then as soon as we get the first chance, we're going to try and get another ship to come this way. We're going to do that. Alright. Once the player characters have returned to their ship, the Romulan warbird signals them. A Centurion appears on the viewer. He is not on the bridge as you would expect, but alone in the commander's ready room. Then we read the following aloud. This is Centurion Dursa of the Decius. I believe you met our sub-commander on the Alacambre. I know now that Denal was not himself, and neither was our commander. I am not here to fight with you, but to warn you. We have a common enemy, Captain. I propose we work together to defeat this threat. So, here, this is white print for us. This is please encourage the player characters to roleplay their response to Dursa's offer of an alliance. Perhaps the captain mutes the channel and asks his senior staff for their thoughts before turning back to Dursa with an answer or more questions. As you roleplay Dursa's response, here is information you can convey. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of speeches that we can do. I'll read them all off. Says, I'm speaking on a secure channel now. I suspect some of my crew have already been compromised. Second one, I am committed to seeing this through to the end. I will protect the Empire no matter the cost. But my hold on the crew is tenuous. They question the wisdom of my orders. The third one here, this operation has not been cleared by my government. I do not yet know who in Romulan leadership can be trusted or how far this conspiracy reaches. A fifth one here, a trusted source within the Tal Shiar reports that the parasitic beings are only days away, a week at most, from achieving the Iconian Gateway. And the last one here, I have located the gateway and the mother creature on a Class M world outside the borders of both our governments. If we go there, we may be able to stop them. I am sending you the coordinates now. Okay, now we have white print, so after the player characters have had a brief interaction with Dursa, he transmits the coordinates. Suddenly, without warning, the Dacius explodes. Inform the players that the ship has successfully received the coordinates and give them a few moments to react if they try to determine the cause of Dacius' destruction. Read the following aloud. Sensor sweeps reveal no other vessel that could have fired upon the warbird. There are also no tachyon emissions, as you would expect if a cloaked ship were in the area. Sensor readings from just prior to the explosion and the debris field are both consistent with catastrophic engine failure. However, sensors did not detect any sign of malfunction before the explosion. All evidence suggests sabotage. With that, I think I would probably be willing to just take off. Let's get going. But if you want to stay and study, then we have another choice that we can read aloud. So I'll read this out. Using the coordinates provided by Dacius, you've pinpointed the Class M world in the Moana system 7 days away from your present location at Warp 8, cataloged by an unmanned survey probe. You put up the 20-year-old report. The system contains a main sequence G-type star, if I can speak. Moana 3, the third planet, harbors no intelligent life. The planet is twice the radius of Earth, made up of shallow oceans and island chains. Before the player characters can investigate further, their ship begins experiencing malfunctions. Unbeknownst to them, the Dacius transmission also included a computer virus put there by a Romulan saboteur. Ship sensors fail, followed by metrics and navigational systems. Read the following aloud. So I guess I wouldn't have much of a choice, but we're going to be stuck anyhow. Suddenly your consoles go dark. Reports of system-wide outages begin coming in from all over the ship. Navigational controls, warp and impulse engines go offline without explanation. Long-range sensors detect a Romulan warbird on an intercept course. It will arrive in 12 hours. Then your ship's sensor arrays crash, leaving you blind. So now we have some ship tension. Alright, repairing the ship, a timed challenge. So now we can't just... excuse me. My breakfast is trying to talk back to me, I think. Okay. So with time challenges, that means that we don't have all day. We can't just keep re-rolling like we were doing on some of the other tasks. The players must race to complete repairs before the warbird arrives. This is a basic challenge with an added concern of time. Time is represented by intervals. Oh my goodness, I can't read this morning. In this challenge, each interval equals 2 hours. Attempting each task in the challenge takes 2 intervals time, 4 hours. Players can spend 1 momentum on a successful task to reduce the time spent on the task to 1 interval, not repeatable. Complications add 1 interval to the attempted task. Player characters have 6 intervals time before the Romulan warbird arrives. So here, I guess the best way to try and describe this would be this. Getting my little tokens out here. So what they're seeing is every time we do a task, it is essentially 2 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's 6. Now I don't have tokens per se. Well, I guess I do here. Trying to say this out correctly here. I did not refresh as to how many momentum or whatever tokens they have. I'm going to give them 2 that they can use at whatever. Okay, so most likely they're going to get used up on this because I know my rolls just usually do not turn out very well. Alright, so with that being what it is, now we have to try and repair everything. To investigate the cause of the malfunctions. This is an insight plus engineering task with a difficulty of 3. So we're going to need multiple people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have all 3 of my characters, 2 and 3. Adding. Now I'm going to look at my characters and say who is the best one to do this. So with a engineering, insight and engineering, let's see, insight of 8. Trying to look past the camera here. 8, 8, and it looks like a 6. So it's going to be one of these. Engineering, unless their engineering is that bad, I have a 2, 2, and a 2. So we're going to go off of our red. So we've got 10 total. Okay, so I need 3 successes. And we're going to use the house rule of if you get a 1, that counts as 2. And this is just how my rolls go. I only got 1 success. So now I only have 5 times that I could do this. Now this is just trying to figure things out. So now we've spent 2 hours just trying to figure out what's going on here, right? Alright. So let's see how we do on this one. I got 1, 2, 3. So now 4 hours have gone by, and now we finally have an idea of what's going on here. Now we got to figure out what we have to do to fix it, because that's just trying to figure out what's going on. Alright. So now we know the Dacius delivered the virus into the ship's computer while transmitting the coordinates to Moana 3. The player characters must wipe all affected files and memory and then reboot the main computer from the backup. So locate the infected files is a reason and engineering task. Oh boy. So reason. Got a 9, an 8, and an 8. So, and engineering is 2. So that gives me an 11. So I got 3 successes. I did pretty good. Alright, so we got that. Oh, and I'll take 1 more token. So we only have 6 hours before. Alright, wiping the control or the corrupted files is a control and engineering. So now we have control of 11, 11, 11. See, so all my guys are really good with control. Engineering 2, so that's a 13 or better. I only need 2 successes. 1, 2. Good thing I had help. Alright, so we made it. And that took another 2 hours. So we only have 4 hours left before that Romulan warbird shows up. Alright. So, with the corrupted files wiped, the player characters may reboot the main computer. If they ran out of time, which we didn't, then the warbird has arrived. It has already scanned the debris field of the Decius. When the player's ship's systems come online, the Romulans hail the player's ship. Read the following aloud. Alright, so we're already going to be gone, I think, so we shouldn't have that going on. Alright, sick bay, which we're not doing because we didn't haul them up. So now we have, we had 4 hours and we warped out of there. Okay, so I'm just jumping forward a little bit because there's things that we didn't do. Although there is a kind of pinkish, purplish or whatever thing here. Cosmetic surgery. The player characters may attempt to pose as Starfleet officers compromised by neural parasites by simulating the breathing gills that host bodies have at the back of their necks. This is a control plus medicine task. Assisted by the ship's computers, which is a computers and medicine with a difficulty of 2. Alright, so I don't know if I have a doctor here. I'm just looking in my, because we have some pre-generated characters, so I'm just trying to see if we have a con officer, chief of security, chief engineer, and medical officer. Alright, which I probably should have been using some of these. And I might end up using some of these for my campaign because I'm trying to have a small ship with 20 officers plus well, my character is going to be part of it, but if you want to use that campaign or whatever, or the things I'm doing in that campaign, by all means, feel free. It's a smaller ship, same ship that we're going to use on this one here today. See, I've got it built up. I think it's going to be a little overpowered because it's going off the Excelsior, and it is a smaller ship than the Excelsior, but I'm not, at the moment, I'm not trying to do a lot of ship combat and like I'm trying to just destroy things left and right. So we have control and medication. So control, I have a 9, medication or medicine is a 5, so that gives me a 14 plus the ship. So here's my ship, which is computers and medicine at 14, 16. Okay, so I have a 26 or a 24. So at that point, and I need 2, so that's a 1 because there's our 20, so that's a 1. So that was 3 successes. We made it. So our 3 characters are going to have the little ship skill in the back. Alright. And the name of our ship going forward is going to be the USS Bradley. So we're on the Bradley here. Let's see. Moana 3. The player characters arrive at Moana star system and assume a standard orbit around the 3rd planet. To set the scene, read the following aloud. Dozens of island chains dot this vast blue ocean world. 6 moons orbit the planet, along with a ring of rocky debris. That is probably from another moon or that broke up when its orbit decayed. Alright, so if we want to conduct scans, which I think we're going to have to, let's try our science officer. I think I had a science officer. If I'm on the ship and not just my 3 characters, I think that would probably... Oh, yeah. They have a player starship here, which is what I should have been using. which is a Galaxy class from the look of it. Yep. All right, con officer, chief of security, chief engineer, medical officer. Let's see, con. Alright, well, I guess we have our con. Let's see what our con scans here. Conducting the scan, we need a reason and science. I have a reason of 10, science of 4. It gets me 14. Plus the ship, which is sensors and science. 14, 16. Alright, another 24. So, alright, so now that we have an idea what's going on here. Okay. See, the ruins of an ancient city litter the largest forested island in the southern hemisphere. A Starfleet runabout is on the outskirts of the ruins, near what appears to be debris field, the debris field of an ancient alien ship. And we have sensors detect life signs among the ruins. One human evading 3 Romulan pursuers. Note that the player characters will soon learn that this is Ensign Lascelles from the Albacari in Mission 1. If Lascelles did not survive that mission, the sensors will simply detect 3 patrolling Romulans. I don't remember how that worked out for us, so we're going to say Lascelles is there. Alright, spending momentum on obtaining information for the vessels. Now, we have 2 momentum points. The ruins extend deep underground, protected by a deflector shield. We have characteristics of structures suggest Iconian architecture, and debris of the alien ship is of no known configuration, but its composition is similar to the vessel found by the survey team who discovered the neural parasites that infiltrated Starfleet Command in 2364. Alright, now we have an encounter. So here's our ship encounter, which is what I was kind of expecting, because they did say that we were going to get some ship encounters on this one. So player characters finish their scan of the planet. A Romulan warbird, the Axia, decloaks. Read the following. We have a proximity alert sounds as a Romulan warbird suddenly appears on your sensors, shimmering in the into the view screen. The warbird swoops at you. It raises its shields and powers its weapon systems. Hails go unanswered. You have no choice but to engage in ship-to-ship combat. Alright. So now we have a little wording. I'm going to read all this through because this is the first time I'm doing ship-to-ship combat in this system. I have a feeling, I know that it's going to go very similar as to what we're doing, but seeing that we did bring up the fact of engine power, which is something that they had done in the old lug system. We'll see how they do theirs, and this is what we're going to go off of because this is the system we have. It's not that it's an unfamiliar thing. So each round of the Starship combat is divided into turns, and non-player character vessels take turns equal to the ship's scale. Since a warbird, scale 6, and the Romulan vessel has 6 turns representing the actions of the Romulan crew. So it sounds like the size of your ship determines as to how many actions you get. So on my ship, the one I created, it's only going to have a size 3. It's a smaller ship. In comparison to the one that they want us to use, which is a Galaxy class. So if I hold this up here, so The Magellan, which is a Galaxy class, is a size scale 6. So, knocking over my figure here. We have 10 power, scale of 6. Okay. This one was supposed to be a size 5 originally. But I want it to be a size 3. So it's a little hodgepodge, Tyrell, whatever. So that means that I will only be able to do 3 actions at a turn. Just how things go. I know it says scale of 5. I'm going to knock it down. I want it to be at a 3. I want this to be a small little ship. Okay. The difference here is, unlike like the Defiant, you know, a small little ship kind of like that, but I want this to be a multi-role ship. It's not meant for... It wasn't originally meant for the long duration and the big cruise, so you can rotate people and have families and so on and so forth. This is a small ship, and when we get the campaign going, I've got to write up on what it's all about. Okay, I had to take a little drink and wet my whistle here. Alright, so since the Axia was cloaked, the Warbird takes the first turn. The Axia decloaks as its free minor action. At medium range, from the player's vessel, spend 1 threat to take a second minor action and raise the shields. So, shields up, that means that we have a threat. I'm going to get these out of here. Actually, I probably just should have taken one away. Alright. So, let's see, trying to figure out where I am here. Okay. To complete the turn, the Warbird now attempts a task. It fires disruptors at the player character's ship, targeting the engines. This is a control and security task assisted by the Warbird's weapons systems. So I'm going to have the Warbird here. Yep, okay. Next page is Warbird. Alright. So we have a control and security. Let's see, the only thing I don't have is what their average person is outside of... I'm going to grab one of the Centurions here. Once I can find them. Alright, so I'm grabbing one of the Centurions here from the very beginning. Survivor. Let's see, Romulan Security Centurion. Alright, so they want daring and security, so that's going to be daring is 10, security is 2, so that's a 12. With what the ship has, engines and security, so we have a 12. Oops, I'm reading the wrong spot. Weapons and security, 12. Plus another 12. So that's a 24. So this bugger is going to hit me. One way or the other, it's just going to hit me. Alright. So, either way, I got for snickered here. Well, not drunk, but, you know, I got slapped up beside the hull plates. Alright. The difficulty of 3. Oh. Actually, I guess that's a good question. Something that we have not really looked at. If the ship is helping, I guess that does mean that it gets a die roll, doesn't it? Alright, this is a power requirement of 1. If available, spend 1 additional power to increase the damage by 1. Oh, that's an interesting thought. I like the idea. Alright. So, I feel I'm going to horribly die here. We're at medium range from each other. And I'm going to bring out my ship. So this is just my ship, and however this goes, it goes. No big deal. I'm not going to be upset about it because I just know I do horrible. Alright. Let's see. So it has a 10 power. Okay. So this is why if we were using the Galaxy, we're very comparable to each other. Alright. So we're using 1 power to shoot another for here, power R power 10. Okay. I don't know if I have 10 tokens here or not, and this is what I'm going to try and do here. So we can see what their power looks like, right? 6. All right. So hopefully this helps everyone watching this to understand how this is working. You probably already have a good estimate of it. I'm just trying to. All right, I'm keeping 2 off the board because I can only have 10, but we're using 2 power. So in this round, I'm now down 2 power. All right. So now I get to roll whatever the damage is. What would be the damage? Disruptor Banks, medium 10, and vicious. Holy shiesties. Okay. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Oh my goodness gracious me. Alright. So I'm going to roll this out here, and we're going to see how fast I die. Now remember, this is vicious. So if you don't remember vicious from the last time, that means 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's 12 points of damage it just did to me. Now, the good news is I have shields and resistance. So I knocked 5 of that off from my resistance, okay? So even though it just did, we had what? There's 4. So we have 6, 7. I only count this as 1 because I know I needed 1 over there. So that's still 7 points that go through. So as you have your shields, and we're going to read through this just to make sure we're doing this right. Okay, to apply damage from the successful attack, first reduce the damage rolled by 1 for each point of the player's ship's resistance. Then, okay, so then I have my resistance, so I get to roll 5 dice there. So, so we had 12. Let me write down. Actually, here, why don't I do this? They shot me for 12 damage. Now I have resistance of 5, so that means that it goes up, it goes down, all that fun stuff. 2, 5. Okay. So, have a rugged design. I don't know if that does anything. Alright. If 5 or more damage remain after reducing the resistance of the engine system, suffer. Oh, good gracious. Alright. Alright, so I don't see anything else that my ship, you know, like in improved shields or whatever. If I had like improved shields, this I believe would be a 2 and not just a 1. So I'm only stopping 4 points out of 12. So that means that there's 8 points still coming through. So then, if 5 or more damage remain after reducing the resistance of the engine system, reducing the resistance, comma, big thing there. The engine system suffers a breach. See below for the effect. Engine breach. The ship loses 2 power. So now that means I go from whatever power I had. Crew support is 5. Power total is 15. Alright, so I'm going from a 15 power. I think I need a different sheet of paper here. One for tracking mine. Yeah. Alright, well, alright, I guess I'm going a little stir crazy trying to figure this out. So this is a little challenging. The whole thing is because I'm doing all this on my own. You know, you can always have one person try and this is your chief engineer or whatever. They can keep track of what power you have. So that does work very well that way. Let's see. Let me my power 15 is total, and now I'm down to 13. Okay, so I'm going to put that out there. I think that's higher than what the Galaxy class had. As I look for the ship, trying to keep pages in here and stuff like that. So, alright. So it said I had a power of 10. Now I don't know why total power on mine is 15. It is, but it wasn't something I could really... Oh! Probably because I had improved impulse drive and secondary reactors. That's why I have that much. That explains it. Okay. So I'm a rugged little ship, good engine design. The Merced, which is what this is based off of, didn't have the greatest, so what I did is in the upgrade or whatever, it got better secondary reactors, improved impulse drives, stuff like that, and a rugged design. And an extensive shuttle base, so that's what I kind of put in there. That's why I have that much power. Okay, that makes some sense here. Alright, so tasks assisted by the ship's engines are tasks that have a power requirement increase in both difficulty and complication range by 1. Okay, removing the increase in difficulty and complication range requires a restore minor action, which can be done during a conflict from the engineering position on the bridge or while in main engineering. Alright, so so we've just been whomped. Let's see. Here, this is something else beyond the breach. If the damage reduces the player's ship's shields to 0, the engine system also suffers a breach. So we've had more. We had eight points go through. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only have 3 points in my shields. So at this point, I need my crew to really work on trying to get shields restored. That just knocked us down really, really horribly. Okay, so with that being what it is, let's try and do this. Now I get a chance. I think at this point I get a chance to go after them. Although I'm guessing, and this is where I'm a little confused here. Mainly because if we're seeing that they have 6 actions and they just did 1, they had a minor action, dropping the shields, and then now they have this. do they get to keep shooting? And for that question alone, let me grab the book. So I have the Star Trek Adventures, just the starter book here. Let's see here. Range, distance, operating, combat tasks, and minor actions. Okay, making an attack. Attacks using the starship's weapons follow the same rules as personal combat, as follows. The attacker chooses a weapon. The attacker then nominates a viable target for the weapon, a single vessel, or another viable target suitable. Now, to the attacker, let's see, if the characters attempt to target such and such, should be declared in that stage. I'm just trying to figure this out because it sounds like I should have. Let me read this through again. Each round of starship combat is divided into turns, and non-player character vessels take turns equal to the ship's scale. Since a Warbird scale is 6, the Romulan vessel has 6 turns representing the actions of the Romulan crew. And place... they're talking about me putting a map out, which I didn't put the map out, but I do have them kind of separated, and we're at medium range. As per conflict rules, each side takes 1 turn before passing the action to the opposite side. Okay, that's the question I really needed. I didn't read that before. I read it now. So, now it's our turn. I just didn't know if they got to go through all their turns. But essentially, we get 3 turns, they get 6. So I think at some point... I think maybe they can do up to 6 actions. You know, you're shooting once, but you can do other actions in the background. I'm thinking that's how this is kind of going. All right. So we're going to attack. We have 15 total. So with that kind of sounding the way it is, why don't I try this? I can attack. So that's going to be my control and security. See if I can leave my starship one there. Alright, because where's my security officer? Chief of security. Alright. So it's control and security tasks. So I have a control of 8, security of 4, so that's a 12. And then the ship's weapon and security. So 10 and a 12 to another 10. So give me a second here. Okay. So it looks like I have a 22. My character's got a 10 between control, or 12 between control and security, and I have a security of 2 and weapons. Oh, that's a 12. Oh, 24. So I have a 24. So I hit very easily. Okay, so I have a very good hit. Now, using the same idea with my ship, I do phaser banks are an 8, okay, in comparison to their 10. So I'm at 8 dice. So let's see, we have what? 3, 6, 7, 8. I can use extra energy, so I could take from a 13 is now my new high at the moment. I could take it up to a 10. I could take it maybe to what, a 12, and that would use 4 energy, so that would take me down to a 9. So Just kind of thinking about this. If that takes me down to a 9. Now, remember, this goes all the way through until, so I may be able to do it this round, but I may not be able to do it next round. So let's see how this works. Let's just go for the gusto and see how good or bad this goes. And I have a lot of dice in my hands. Okay. And see if this goes horribly bad for me. Alright, so let's see here. Versatile 2. So I gotta figure out what Versatile 2 was, because I put that on there for a reason. And bonus damage. Let's see, area, dampening, persistent, piercing, spread. I don't, oh, versatile. The attack gains X points of bonus momentum if successful. So, that means for every one of these, that's extra momentum I get. Alright, so, let me move my sheets over here so I can look at this, because I have dice all over the place. Alright. So, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage to the Romulans. Now I gain 1, 2, 3, 4 momentum, which then can be used. 3, 4, that used up all my momentum tokens. Alright, so now I've got a little stash of momentum tokens here. Alright. And then I'll have to start figuring out if I can use momentum for trying to attack or whatever else as well. So now the same thing's going to go to the Romulans here. So the Romulan Warbird has, let's see, it just took more than 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, right here. That's 5 alone. So now that it's going to get a breach. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 points. Now it. Let's see. Let me count this over again because I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, right? So I get 11. So let me kind of flip a die here for an 11. That's what I've got going to them. That's what they had gotten towards me. Alright, he has a resistance of 6. So now we can roll 6 dice here. Got 3, 6, and I'm hoping for a lot of blanks, and yeah, there's only one blank. Alright, so he holds up to 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. It's still 5 damage that goes through, so he still has a core breach. So his power goes from a 10 down to an 8. So really, this is all the power he's got left here. Alright. Now, he has shields of 14, 5 points from that, so he's got 6 points of his shields left. Shield 6. Alright, so I'm starting to get this a little bit better, getting a little bit more hands-on here. I don't think I need all these. Well, kinda, because that tells me what's available and what's not. If this drops it down, and I used 2 before, that means I'm really only down to 6. Just like mine, I went from a 15 to a 13, and I'm currently at a 9. Okay, because I have that backup reactor and all that stuff. So power-wise, I'm doing better than he is. Shield-wise, I'm doing terrible. 3 more and that sucker is going straight through the shield and into the hull. And then we have to figure all that stuff out, which we will. Okay, so now it's his turn. He's going to roll. I think he had like a 24, so yes, he hits. Got an 18 and a 9. Technically, I think you should be rolling 3 dice because if the ship's helping you with assist, that would be that. And let's see. His weapons have a 10, so I need 4. I'm going to roll these. I got 4. And another 6 here. Okay. And the problem is he's got that vicious trait. So that means that every one of these does double damage. So I'd almost like to get that on mine. That's kind of unfair to the Federation. We play real nice, don't we? Okay. So I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 more. So where's my... Alright. So he hit me for 12 more points of damage. That's where he is. My shields are... I've got a resistance of 5. I'm going to roll this, see how bad I do. And I've got 4. Okay, so that means 8 points go through, which then is another hull breach, which means that currently I'm down to an 11. That makes this a 7. So it just keeps going down. And my shields are going to be gone. So now we got to read through that, which is great because then we get to learn all this stuff. All right. So for nothing else, I'm a good a good teacher of what hopefully we don't do. All right. We have engine breach. What if the adversaries win? No. Let's see. Hold on. I'm not there yet. What happens if... I think I need the other book. Oh. Well, now I'm going to have a second... It looks like I get a second engine breach. Alright. Let me get this out here because this is... Breaches, impact, oh. So here, we have a system hit table. So whenever you hit, we're rolling. And this is something I didn't do because it didn't ask us to do this. So then you hit, like I got a 2. So that's computers, right? Alright, if the task is successful, then the attack inflicts X damage as described in the weapon profile. If the specific weapon is not targeted, roll a determine which system gets hit, which I didn't target anything. So I rolled a 2. I got a computers. Now, whenever any ship suffers damage, follow this procedure. Roll the number of dice for the attack. If the hazard's damage rating, the total, oh, computers. Okay, so this is how this works. So, computers went from a 10 to an 8. So you see how this works? So I had hit their computers. So their computers, which when you're looking at it, and I'm going to throw mine out here, okay? So I don't know how well you guys can see it. Hopefully you can see it on a nice big screen. I've got computers of 10, or of 8. The Romulan ship has computers of 10. So if I get hit, then that means that that goes down to a 6. And when these systems start going offline, you know, if I lose my shields, it just goes straight into these until your ship is destroyed. Okay? Which at my point, I think I'm probably going to be losing, because if it went through the 3 here and I had 12, so that would have been 8, so I have 5 points that probably would have gone, and they were targeting my engines. So now I would have 5 points left in my engines. Okay. Now what happens when the engines get damaged? So you have breaches. Let's see. If the target has any resistance dice from blank to cover, roll those and add the total roll to any static resistance the ship has. The total of the ship's total resistance gained against... Okay, so I have a resistance of 5, which then goes against that. Alright, so hopefully I'm making this sound clear. Alright, before... I mean, because oops, I'm looking at the wrong book. We don't have a lot here going on, but the fact that we are coming through on this. Alright, so this is what really is taking the most amount of time, just trying to do all the ship combat, because we have not done ship combat until now. So, ship combat is a very good thing for a group. It's hectic for me because I'm trying to do everything. And likely so, if I was on a shuttle and I have this blaring and that blaring, it's going to be kind of hard, right? But as a ship's crew, this really works very nicely to say we have a crew of people. So I have a chief engineer, or someone that's in my engineering. He can control how much power I've got. He can keep track of what's got what. And then I have repair teams going out, which I didn't do on my round and stuff like that. These are things that we can do. So, being hit, I went through this. So, here, I'm just going to move my characters completely out of here for now, because I don't know how much more is going to be going through on that side of it. And I'm trying to figure out where to go with my dice here. But I want you to be able to see this, hopefully. Okay, so as you look at my ship, I take 3 points of damage, right? And then I get a breach. And this is 2 breaches to the engines already. Okay? And now, I'm going to be down, should be like 5. I know you don't see it very well, but I can kind of see the 5 there. I'm just writing a little lightly here. I can always reprint this off, whatever. Not a big deal. So now I'm down to a 5 here. Actually, if I reprint this here, why don't I do this? I'll just do this in pen. So now I have 5. Okay? That's my estimate of things. So, so we also have breaches table. So if I have a scale 3 and if I get 2 breaches, actually, why don't I read this, because this is going to get interesting here. Each system of Starship can sustain a number of breaches equal to its scale. So I have a scale 3. For each system, the breach has an immediate impact. A short-term penalty, such as being unable to use that system for a turn. Then, if the system has suffered a number of breaches equal to or greater than half the ship's scale, then it's damaged. So, let's read that again. If a system has suffered a number of breaches equal to or greater than half the ship's scale, then it's damaged. So at this point, my engines are completely damaged. If a system has suffered a number of breaches equal to the ship's scale, then it's disabled. So if they hit me one more time, my engines are done. Alright? So this is where having a bigger ship is kind of nicer, but I'm just trying to keep it small crew and all that stuff. If a system has suffered more breaches than the ship's scale, it is destroyed. So I can get 2 more breaches before it is gone. There is no trying to repair it, limping back, no nothing. Impact. Whenever a system suffers a breach, it disrupts function temporarily until a character is in a relevant role for a system performs the restore minor action. This system cannot be used to perform any tasks. Communications can't hail. Engines lose 2 power. Weapons cannot fire. Oh, really? Wait a minute. So if I back this up just a little bit and bear with me, because I think I'm already all ways of hurt here. So if I'm reading this correctly, the way this is gone after my first hit, because I had an engine breach, right? It hit my engines, they targeted the engines. I lost 2 power, so I was down to a 13. That meant I couldn't attack, because now it just took my engines offline. I have nothing. Actually, I'm thinking that my tough ship, let's see, rugged design, I should see what that gives me. Because if I have a rugged design, that might be helping me in other ways that I don't realize. That might give me a little bit better chance of surviving this. Kind of looking here, qualities, damage effects area, vicious knockdown. Okay. I am not seeing in here. So what I'm going to do is give me a second. What I'm going to pause my recording. I'm going to look this up in the Plantation Utopia. Okay. So I got the Utopia Plantation book out. So rugged design. This ship is designed with frontier in mind, with a durable construction and easy access to critical systems that allow repairs to be made easily. Reduce the difficulty of all tasks to repair the ship by 1 to a minimum of 1. So anytime I need to repair the ship, like what I had to do before, if I needed 3 before, I only needed 1 or 2. So that's the way that's going. Let's see. I also have the secondary reactors. Let's see. I was about 90 before. Oops. Went a little too far. Let's see. Daedalus class. Warp Delta. G class. Nope. I'm not trying to. Okay. Secondary reactors. Increases the ship's power capacity by 5. Let's see. let's see. Oh, excuse me. Alright, well, I guess what we're looking at, going through all this, outside of the fact that I'm horrible at rolling, is, well, this is getting to be a little longer than I was hoping, but it's interesting with the ship combat. Trying to keep track of all this information. I mean, it's not a lot here, but the way everything works very well. Trying to get all this through. Now I'm going to start kind of abbreviating a little bit of this, although I really don't want to in some regards, mainly because, you know, we've done regular combat, but we have not done the ship combat. So, and I'm trying to get all this down. And I'm kind of throwing things out at you. One way or the other, we're going to get down and we're going to figure things out. We're going to get through this. It's just going to be a little longer than I expected this to be today. All right. So, going with how I think we're doing here, and bear with me if I'm doing things wrong and anybody knows better, and I'm following all this up and I'm trying to follow the rules, let me know in the comments, because I am not an expert. I am learning this just like you. That's why we're taking the time to go through this. You can just listen to this, listen to me fumble through this, and then you can get a better, or hopefully a better idea of what we're doing, how we're doing this, and so on and so forth. Now, we had them shoot us. We were taking a massive attack or amount of damage here. So at this point, I don't know if I can even use my phasers. Now, I do have the secondary reactors, which I think I just looked those up, and that just gives me an extra 5. But I'm going to say this: if I have a secondary reactor, ship has additional impulse and fusion reactors that allow the ship to generate greater quantities, but it doesn't say anything about if I'm having hull breaches, that counters the hull breach thing. So I don't think I can actually hit them with that. But keep this in mind. In my mind, good, bad, or indifferent, I should still be able to use photon torpedoes. I can't use any extra. Oops. You guys can't see it. All right, now you can. Okay, I should still be able to use photon torpedoes, because really it's like launching a rocket, right? You just send a little signal, there it goes, it does what it's got to do, but it only has a 5 damage. So if all I can do is do photon torpedoes, I can do a high yield. So let's see what the high yield is. Let's see, high yield might shoot additional. Actually, wait a minute. Let me look in the adventures book, because he might have it in here. Damage, piercing, vicious, devastating area. Nope, they don't. Oh, high yield. A weapon inflicts massive damage to the enemy vessels. If the attack inflicts 1 or more breaches to a system, it inflicts 1 additional breach. So, I'm going to roll. That should be 2 successes, and that 5 definitely would hit. So I'll throw those in there. I'm only rolling 5 dice. So let me get some of these just out of the way here. We have 5 dice. Now, we have 1 high yield, or one special. So that's the high yield, right? So we have, they have a, trying to keep this all straight here. Resistance is 6. So I've got 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to do that right here. And they only got a 2. So this really lucks out on me. So I got that one and this, and these are all blank. Don't ask me how luck shined upon me on this one. I don't know. All right. So we did not get a breach as far as I can tell. I would say that that should almost give me 2 for a high yield. Let me read this through again, because it's talking about a breach, but I don't see anything about it doing any extra damage. The weapon inflicts massive damage to enemy vessels. If the attack inflicts 1 or more breaches to the system, it inflicts 1 additional breach. So I think it's just normal damage, so I only do 4 damage. So it did get in through, but it's only 4 damage. That would be a wonderful thing, because if it would have, then I roll this. That said, it would be a 19. And I look at our book here, because I'm not doing a called shot to anywhere. And 19, 18, 19, and 20 is the weapon systems. So essentially what I've done is, let's see, 4. Let's see here. Oh, shields is down to 2. Okay, so that they're not dead. Their shields aren't dead yet. They're down, but they're not dead yet. Okay, so there's that. And then if that would have breached through, that would have taken their weapons offline. That would have breached. They wouldn't be able to use their weapons next round. To save my own bacon, I'd love to say that they did, because I think I'm going to be a goner on this one. Now, this being my turn yet, I want to do a quick repair. So let me grab my, I don't care what officer it is. Let's see, because we do have that available. All right, engine breach. Let's see. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out what it is to repair the ship, right? And it's a minor action. So I'm trying to read through this again, just to see how we do that again. All right. Spending momentum to obtain information. Alright, I'm just kind of skimming through here, because I know that there was something in here about trying to repair. And I'm just not seeing it. So let me look up the adventures book. And this is, you know, sitting there with a group of guys and all that, this is the part that takes the longest, when you're trying to figure some of this stuff out. And, you know, we BS along the way. All right. And that's all fine with me, and I don't have any problems. Minor actions, interact, changing position, interact, operating a starship, power, shields, resistance, movement and terrain, breaches, repairing damage. Here we are. Take a control and engineering, either a daring or control and engineering. Okay, so control, engineering, I get an 11. Nope. I got a 13 there. I'm sorry. With the difficulty for repairs set by the damage suffered above. Okay, so I've got 2 breaches. So I think that's what it is. I need to have, what, 2 successes, and I make it. So if I repair something, repairs made will remove the penalties imposed by the damaged systems, but does not remove the breaches that cause these conditions. So now I have my engines up and running, but they're still running at a decreased level. So I have to kind of keep that in mind. All right. So now I'm able to keep going. So this is what your engineering team is doing, right? They're keeping your ship going while you're messing everything up. This is where Scotty, I think, is always upset because he's always got to fix everything while Kirk keeps throwing us into chaos, right? Okay. Now, I'm not doing it for them because I'm not worried about them. I'm trying to make us win. I always try to favor the characters. So I'm just letting them go. We are already in enough issues. I don't know how I try to repair things out even more. I mean, I could do a second one and say, hey, this is an extra thing here. And I had a 14. Actually, I have momentum, so I could probably roll an extra die. And, yeah, right. And I'm fumbling here horribly. The only thing is, I don't know if I'm using momentum correctly at the moment, and with me being busy with everything else, and then I want a little downtime of my own, I have not read through the books as much as I usually do. But on the other hand, I usually play a game I'm very used to because we had been playing it for over 20 years. So learning a new game, trying to do things, trying to learn other things at work because I'm in a different position, that doesn't help me there. Anyways, so we hit them. We repaired some systems, so that had gotten us going. I should be able to use phasers on the next one, I hope. I should have done that on this one and probably done that. Let's see. Okay. Versatile. Alright. So now they're going to attack. So they need that 24. Ooh, that's a failure. So they don't hit because that 20 reared its ugly head. They failed. Okay. So we're going to roll. And then we hit. Now, again, I'm going to try and make sure my repair team is repairing things. Now, I don't know if I can repair shields. So let's try that. Let's look this up. Can I repair shields? 'Cause that's what I want to try and get up. Can I get shields back up and running? Okay, so I can spend momentum maybe. So I can spend momentum to reroll damage. I can spend momentum for bonus damage. Character can increase the damage inflicted by the successful attack regardless of the type of attack. Each momentum spent can add 1 extra damage. Attacker can also power loss. The attack also removes 1 point of the target's power. So I can try and knock down their power because, all right. Remember, he had 6 and I had 3. So the photon torpedo I don't think should have done any power drain, but his attack should have. So instead of him being at 8, he should have been at 7. And I'm going to say that I'm still at 7. Alright? So we're at about the same power. And we're just going to keep going here. So I'm going to get these kind of up here because I'm just trying to keep things written down here. Alright? So what I could do is I could do this. Now I hit. So I've got 8, 3, 6, 7, and 8. I'll roll those. Okay. So I've been building up momentum. That all builds up momentum for me. Got 5. So I've hit them. And I've got, what, how many points here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, last round I should have used one of those, and that would have been a breach. Alright, so let's just say that. So for like last round, I would have done a breach. That would have knocked out his weapons entirely. So now his weapons are knocked out. We'll apply that to this one. I'll take that off. You know, this is all just trying to figure things out. Okay, so you know, I know I'm doing a little out of sequence or whatever. He missed, so I could have said I did it last round. I took it off of there, and now he's got shields of 6. And I'm going to take 2 of these over here. And let's see, we have nothing's there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that blocks what I did here. Okay. So really I shoot, but I don't do any damage. His weapons are down, and I'm just going to let it sit down because that helps me. I'm not going to worry about the second ship coming in. That, you know, there's supposed to be so many, and I know I'm doing terrible, and this is getting longer anyways. Alright, so again, I will roll, and he's going to be at 7, I'm going to be at a 6, so our power keeps going down. Now, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is our 4th round, or so. We have up to 6 rounds, and then everything should recharge again, I believe. Okay. If I'm doing this correctly, I believe that's how that works. If I'm not doing it correctly, I do apologize. Alright. So, actually, I think at like 3, I think I'm out of actions, and then it goes around again. So then we should probably be up to where we were, where I should be at, say, like 11. And then he should probably be at 8. Weapons are down. So now here we're going to do this again. I just don't know how I can repair. Actually, I think in the future, if I make a ship, because there is one where you can recharge your shields and all that, I think I would do that because you can spend 1 momentum and you can get 3 on your shields, so you can keep re-upping your shields. So I think if I try to recreate this a little closer to what it was or what it should be, I'm going to throw something like that in there. Anyways, I'm going to do an 8. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to, where's my pencil? I'm going to take me down 4. 11, 7. Okay, so I want this hit to really do something here. All right, so let's see. So it looks like I did, what, 10 damage? So I had 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, yep, 10 damage, okay. So let me put this up to a 10, so I know how much. And he has a 6 for his shields. And he deflects 5 of it. So I still have 10 damage that goes through. Let's see here. So ship combat really seems like it takes quite a bit of time. I think we're going to start ending this about here and then finish off the mission. Alright, so this would have gone through to his shields, which he only had 2 left. So that would have put 3 points in on... Oops, I get a roll for what location? 17. So 17 being, like I said, we're going to end the ship combat here. That would be structure, and the structure is an 11. So you see how this goes, you know. Then you're whittling things down, and then there's a breach on the structure because we breached the shields. So breaching the structure, and we're both doing horrible here. Essentially, both of our shields are gone, and it's just a matter of time. I'm going to guess most likely I would end up losing in the long run because I normally end up doing it that way. I just always have a bad... Well, no, his weapons were down, so I could just kind of wail away at him. I think I could do a second action maybe and do the torpedoes or something or whatever. But you're getting the idea. Now you're using all your other things here. You know, all your engines and structure and all that. Those all become hit points for your other areas. Once those are gone, those are completely gone. Your ship is completely destroyed when all those are gone. Okay? I mean, if your hull is gone, your structure is gone, then you are gone. But if your sensors are gone, you're still alive. Computers are gone. You're not going to be able to shoot. Your weapons are gone again. Well, if your computers are gone, I'll say it this way. You could probably shoot, but you're not going to have any computer help. Then it's just you. Engines, likely, you know. You get the idea. Alright, so we'll kind of rein these in here a little bit. Alright, so we're going to say that we won. Not really, but we're going to say we won. And I think what I might do is I might actually do 2 small ships or whatever and just try and do that. Like 2 small shuttles or something like that, fighting it out. And see how long that takes just to get through a full thing and see what other silliness we have that comes through. So I may try and do that here in the future. Alright, so look for that during the week, because I'll probably do it during the week, so that way when we get going on our campaign, we're getting the ship combat down. Alright. Encounter the away team on Moana 3. You stand in the vast ruin of tumble-down stone in a humid, vine-encrusted jungle. Bulbous flowers float overhead like Chinese lanterns. They give off a green light, even now, in the middle of the day. Colorful birds nest in trees that snake and curve into the air like blue leaf branches that reach skyward. Insects whine and buzz about your ears. Suddenly, energy weapons fire Energy weapon fire pierces the calm. Up ahead, Ensign Lascelles from the USS El Cabre hunches behind a fallen stone column. 5 Romulans, using their ruins as cover, fire on his location and pin him down. So now we're going to help him out. Now I'm not going to go through this. I just want to get through this whole thing. It's getting a little longer. We're going to help him out. We're going to get through it. Now, we have different things here. If the Romulans succeed, the player characters have failed. Begin a conflict with the Romulans taking the first turn. If the players succeed, the player characters have fooled the parasite. Oops. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. We get through here. We can try and the player characters. Let me read the rest of this because I'm going to mess this all up otherwise. In this conflict encounter, the player characters take the first turn. Use the stats for Ensign Lascelles from the first mission. From the map 4-4B on the poster, so I could have a map out here. I'm not worried about it at the moment. And place the tokens as indicated on the back of the booklet. The Romulans are in the center of the map, 1 zone away from Lascelles, with the characters to the rear. Each zone contains ruins granting a +2 to cover combatants. These cover dice are rolled and added to the character's resistance before taking damage. The Romulans fight to the death, at which point neural parasites crawl out of their mouths and scurry into the underbrush. The parasites will attempt to return to the mother creature in the underground complex. If Ensign Lascelles did not survive, then we just get under attack. Alright, deception is as alternative to conflict. The player characters may be posing as Starfleet officers compromised by the neural parasites. If this is the case, they have simulated breathing gills on the back of their necks. Using deception, there is a chance the player characters can avoid conflict and rescue Ensign Lascelles. Deception is an opposed task. So, we can oppose this. We could probably just stun Lascelles. So we have a daring and security or control and command talk. So, using my red character, security was 4. Daring is an 8. Did I have control? Is one of the control and command. So control is 11, command is 4. I'm better at that. I have a 15 or better. Okay? So, and of course, that's a 7, and that's a 19. I fail horribly. I've just stunned one of our allies. Let's see. Let's just say that we succeed. I tell you, I just do horrible at rolling. Player characters have fooled their parasite-controlled Romulans, and if neither side succeeds or there is a draw. Okay, here. If I failed my roll, we'd be fighting, we'd be at close. If I succeed, then Romulans allow us to take Lascelles. If neither succeed in the case, Romulans are not fooled, but it takes a moment for them to recognize the deception, begin the conflict, and then we fight again. Alright. Okay. Let me pause for a second. Alright, so we have Ensign Lascelles here. Either through a conflict or deception, the Romulans are no longer a threat. When this occurs, Ensign Lascelles turns on the player characters regardless of how they rescued him. He is still distrustful. How does he know you are who you appear to be? Could this be a trap? If they offer their tricorder, he slaps it away. The readings could be fake. He points a Type 1 phaser at them and peppers them with questions to test their memory. As Ensign Lascelles, read the following aloud. We first met on the Intrepid when you assisted our captain in a mission near the Cardassian border. What was his name? Now, in white print here, we have the proper response here is for the player characters to correct them. The player characters need a reminder. Let them add one threat to give them a hint. Depending on how long ago you got together to begin the short campaign, the players might have forgotten the details of the first mission, but their characters should still remember the player characters met Ensign Lascelles on the Rpg3 far from Cardassian territory. Captain John Kelly was in command of that vessel. When the players respond, read the following aloud as Ensign Lascelles. The Rpg3 is a Constitution-class starship. We were trapped in a space-time anomaly, and you answered our distress call. The player characters should correct him again. The Alacabre is an Earth class science vessel. It was selected for Stage 2 testing of an experimental engine. Now we have Lascelles' story here. Okay, and going on down here, we have the rest of the white print here. Engine configuration designed to exceed Warp 5 without damaging subspace. Excuse me, but the test failed and disabled the ship. Ensign Lascelles was the only survivor of a Romulan boarding party that killed the rest of the crew. At this point, Lascelles will be satisfied that they are who they say they are. He'll bring them down, or bring them up to speed on recent events, including why he is on Moana 3. See Lascelles' story. He does not have a bluegill, but should the players wish it, a medical tricorder scan will confirm that Ensign Lascelles is not a neuroparasite victim. I don't know if the group I play with would figure that out or not. You know, they're good at it, but if we're playing like 1 month at a time, they may not even think about it. I don't know. You know, I'm not as fortunate as a lot of groups where we don't get together every week or whatever. So, you know, we're like a month or a couple months apart. So at this point, I think in my group, we probably just kind of blow past this a little bit. I will read Lascelles' story here. Starbase 117 was a blur of red tape, medical workups, debriefings, and more medical workups, more debriefings, and that wasn't enough. Starfleet Command ordered me back to Earth to ask even more questions. Meanwhile, I'm the only one who has watched these things in action up close. I was on the front lines of this new war between anyone, or before anyone even knew there was a war. I shouldn't be on the sidelines. Those parasites killed my captain and my crew. They deserve some payback, and I intend to give it to them. I slowly run about and headed to Qatar, but in some kind of blind luck, the Dacius found me first. A Centurion was in charge of a warbird. Can you believe it? Alright, so, let's see, where was I here? Can you believe it? He saw the same danger I did, and he took action, just like me. He needed backup. I told him to find you. Looks like he did. Alright, so at this point, we're gonna kind of, unfortunately, I've got things I gotta get done. So, you guys won't notice a difference, except for the fact that I'm going to be a little discombobulated here, because I got to kind of pause this. I'll finish this a little later. Life always likes to smack me right square in the face, and then we got to get going on other things here. But we're going to finish this up here, and we will. We have quite a bit of reading here, and we're going to go from there. Looking at this, I've got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages to go through, and we're going to get that done here. We're going to finish this up today, and then we'll get on to our regular campaign. So, all right, like I said, you guys aren't going to see any difference because, you know, I'll stop this and start it, and I'll get it all edited up. But so if things are a little off sequence or whatever, you understand what's going on. All right, so here we are for the final stretch here. Okay, so we have Scene 2 of the Ruins, I believe. So we have player characters can easily locate and access the access point to the underground complex with their tricorder. Ask a member of the away team to scan the ancient city ruins, which is the Insight and Science task. So as we're looking at that, I'm going to take our red character here. We have Insight of 8 and Science of 1. So I'm doing horribly here. Means he's got a 9 insight of what, 9, and science of 1. And our other one has only got a science of 1, but it looks like his insight is a 6 or so, or maybe an 8. So either way, I'm rolling like a 9 or less, and there's a 9, there's a 10. I get 1. It's a difficulty of 0. So even with getting a 1, it still gives me 1 momentum. So that works out in my favor either way. Alright. Oh, difficulty of 1. Either way. Alright, so the markings share similarities with the Danasian language, suggesting Iconian origin. Suspending momentum to obtain information. So we can easily do that. We'll spend momentum here. Comparing common root words from the language database in the tricorder, you approximate the interpretation of one of the fragments. You believe it speaks to a great conflagration and an exodus to a land of peace, an idyllic existence. A later fragment is a warning to close the gate forever. When the player characters are ready to continue on, read the following aloud. The dirt path soon ends to an enormous staircase formed by natural basalt columns. At the top, dense shrubs and tall grass grow around the foot of a snow-capped mountain. A triangular stone and metal structure covered in creeping vines juts out from the side of the mountain slope. A neural parasite scurries from the underbrush and into a crack at the base of the stone. A closer examination of the structure reveals a control panel with symbols similar to those seen among the ruins. Scanning the structure and panel with a tricorder is a difficulty of reason or insight plus engineering. So, let's see, we have reason of a 9, and it said science, sorry. So I need a 10 or better, and I get both of them, so I got 2. And this was... Oh, and I needed a difficulty of 3, and I failed that one. And I got a 15. Let me spend a momentum to roll another die. And I got a 9. Alright, so everybody tried helping, plus we spent 1 momentum. We made it. Security protocol. A blue arc of electricity discharges from the control panel. The player who attempts the task takes 4 lethal damage. Oh, for cry. Oh, my goodness. Okay, 4 lethal damage. Alright. I only take 2 points. Lethal. The cost to avoid the injury increases by 1 for each effect rolled. Alright, so to try and avoid this, we have to roll sugar shoots here. Okay. Actually, I'm kind of... I have a... GM screen here. So I'm kind of looking at the GM screen. So in order to dodge, I need make an attack, injuries, common. Just trying to see what it says for dodging here, because I know there is a dodge. Has a difficulty. I believe it's going to be a roll of 2. And I don't see it in there. Alright. Combat. Avoid an injury. Costs 2 momentum. Avoid suffering a single injury. So I've got momentum. All right, I paid the cost. Nobody gets hurt at this point. Just trying to get this going on here. All right. Okay. A successful tricorder scan creates an advantage or related task. If a task is successful, read the following. Your tricorder detects no known mechanism, but the scan has triggered a response from the planet. A glowing blue triangle faintly appears as if etched in the stone. Oops, I wasn't supposed to do that. Anyways, the tricorder reads a small chamber beyond the stone, but when the lit triangle vanishes, so do your readings. Now, deciphering the symbol on the control is an insight in science, so that's, I believe I had a 9 before. Science is 1, insight I have an 8, so it's a 9. I get a single. Difficulty is 1, so we make it. Spending momentum to obtain other information. I'm not going to worry about it. There's a security protocol and there's a structured technology. I'm not going to worry about that. Just trying to kind of further things here quick. You have determined the correct sequence of the key to key into the panel. When you activate the mechanism, the blue triangle appears on the stone again, brighter this time and humming with energy. Suddenly the stone within the triangle becomes translucent. This molecular structure has changed, allowing you to pass through into a small chamber. Once inside, the chamber begins a slow descent into the underground complex. Alright, entering the underground. Act 3. So this is our final act here. We're finishing things up. As the player characters enter the underground complex, read the following. We have the lift comes to a stop at a large triangle of blue energy hums to life on one of the walls. The stone within the triangle turns translucent, revealing a corridor beyond. Small glowing blue triangles of light on the walls illuminate the corridor. Ahead, 2 triangular doors begin opening. The first is to your immediate right, the second further down the passage. Where the corridor makes a left turn, a Romulan steps out of the second door. So, alright, let me gather some of these dice up so I get them out of the way. We do not need our ship at the moment. Let me get that out of there. Now, I'm grabbing the character sheets just to get them out of the way. We're going to grab our characters here. If I can get these all collected up. Okay. So we have a hallway. Let me draw that out. Let's see what we have here. I'll use my black marker as well. That way that seems to work a little bit better for everybody to see. I don't know how many sheets I'm going to need. I got 2. So now we have the fun times here. Alright, so we come down a triangular with a hallway, and I'm going to kind of do it off this way, kind of go that it goes off here, and then something goes off to the right, it said. There. Trying to keep something similar to what it was talking about. Alright. Okay, so here we are. We have, if the player characters are posing as Starfleet officers compromised by neuroparasites, which is what they are, they may attempt to deceive the Romulan, which is exactly what I want to do. So we have daring, and the players could use daring and security or control and command. Now, control and command is what I want to use. That's a 15 or better. And I make it. Aha. For once the dice aren't going against me, but I think I probably spoke too soon. Alright. So, the player succeeded. The Centurion goes back to his work inside the chamber. Now, I'm going to kind of skip down a little bit. There's a tactical considerations here. The Romulan is 3 zones away from the player characters. Doorways grant a +2 cover, providing the character is within reach. This means the doorway must be within arm's length of the character. Characters may declare they are moving within reach of the doorway when they move into the zone. The doorway to the left of the player characters is a zone away at medium range. Now I'm kind of confused here. I don't have maps going, so I mean I'm trying to do ours, but something doesn't seem like it's adding up here. Alright, well, I'm sure we're going to have this here somewhat soon. Alright, the library. The door to the library is a repository of the history of the original inhabitants of Moana 3. If the player characters enter the library, read the following aloud. So I'm going to guess that's the library here. We're going to go off over here. We're going to look in there. You step into an empty pyramid-shaped chamber. Small niches line the smooth stone walls. These dusty, shallow recesses hold palm-sized pyramids, all sculptured from an unknown metal. So I'm gonna kind of show you this picture. I think this is kind of what we're looking at. I'm gonna guess that we're going to be getting into. There's a power room and stuff like that. So I've got a lot of reading. This is coming up. I don't know if this must be the power room or something here. Alright, a tricorder scan of these objects is a reason and science task. I'm going to guess that these are going to be kind of like the Jedi holocrons. Something in that vein. Alright. A tricorder scan of these objects is a reason and science task with a difficulty of 0. Success reveals that the objects are solid. They contain no known mechanism, though they emit an energy signature like a battery. The player character picks up one of the pyramids. Read aloud the following. So we'll pick one up. The pyramid glows blue in your hand. The light flickers and sputters as if the mechanism is damaged. Images flood your mind at an alarming rate, depicting millions of people dying in an orbital bombardment on some distant planet, though some survived by stepping through a gateway to Moana 3. So this is from their home planet coming over. So kind of what I thought-ish, like a Jedi holocron. Alright, so this would be a great repository to have people come back and study this and all that. This is not our immediate mission as far as I'm concerned. Alright, the character must pass a control or fitness plus security task with a difficulty of 3 to avoid suffering 3 damage from non-lethal or mental strain. So now I gotta roll. And I gotta spend this in order to... I'm probably just gonna get the mental... You know what? I'm just gonna take the mental strain. I don't think I'm going to make it. Let's see. Suffering 3 damage. So that's just 3 damage to my character here. And I have a pencil floating around here. There it is, underneath the book. Alright, so it's just going to be 3 stress here. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Now, students of archaeology or those versed in Iconian history may recognize these images, which we are not. I'm not going to read this. Power room. The second door houses the power room to the facility. If the player characters enter the chamber, read the following aloud. We're just going to keep continuing out. Encounter the mother creature. Here we are. After the power room, the corridor turns to the left and slopes downward. In the distance, blue light flickers in a large chamber. The player characters may proceed to the chamber without opposition. When they enter, read the following aloud. On the dais, in the center of the pyramid-shaped room, two spiral arches curve inward toward each other, but never meet. Between the arches, blue energy shimmers like the waves of the ocean. A Romulan commander stands before the arc, her face awash in its blue glow. Control stations line the wall, manned by 8 Romulan scientists. So, we do have a map for this one, I believe. Map 4-4. Alright. So let me get the map out here. 2-4-4. Alright. So, we are going to be walking in. This is 4-4 here, as you can read. Alright, and we're standing something like that. So, trying to get this out here. I'm just going to use these tokens just because there's a ton of figures here. Alright, so for what it's saying is 1, 2, 3. So 4 all the way in the back, and then we got 4 over on this side. 1, 2, 3, and there should be a 4th one floating around here somewhere, and I don't know where. Oh, I got tokens over here. Here, and then there's the main character, I'm guessing. Alright. Okay. And place the tokens indicated on the back booklet. Alright, after 2 rounds... Oops. Let's see. In this conflict encounter, the player characters will take the first turn. See the sidebar for the commander's stats. So, we're going to shoot at the commander. Commander Vesta, major NPC. So all 3 of us are just going to shoot to completely vaporize her, because this is where they all are. I'm not even pretending. I don't care what happens. Because the other thing is if we kill her, then supposedly we're freeing some of the others, right? Okay. Reading about Commander Vesta, the mother creature took control of Commander Vesta's body nearly a year ago. Her primary aim has been to repair the Iconian Gateway, paving the way for the salvation of her species because the failure of the neuroparasite's previous attempt to infiltrate Starfleet Command. Now, she has a stress of 12, resistance 3, and she's immune to pain. So I'm doing full... In my mind, you should be hit and vaporized, right? Alright. Because that's the way it would be if we were watching the show. Let's see. Now my characters have to roll to hit, and trying to remember how we were doing this. So that brings us all the way back to the beginning of the book here. And we were looking this up last time, and things just kind of... Let's see. Piloting the shuttle, floating... Set phasers to stun. Here we go. Now. Covering in first aid, so it is right in here. Okay. For rolling the dice. Jeffrey's tubes. there is a thing here, and using a phaser to cut the bulkhead, control and engineering. I'm going to say it's what, control and... Actually, this should all be right here in our... And this is the whole thing, just trying to remember how the rules exactly go. What we have to roll to attack. Damage, making an attack here. Daring and security with the difficulty of 1. Okay. So we're just doing daring and security with a difficulty of 1. Our red guy, we have daring 8, security of 4, so that's a 12 or better. And I get 2. Okay, so I got 2 attacks from him. I'm doing all 3 of them just to see if they hit. Daring, security 12. None there. And white is daring and security a 13. And none there. So our first one, our red hits, the other 2 fail. Let's see. Now there should be a way, and I'm kind of going off a little bit from this, because one would imagine there's got to be a way to just let's see. Phaser type 2, ranged 3, standard issue. So, charge. The weapon can be adapted to energy supply, allowing potential scaling to... Character performs a prepared minor action before attacking with this weapon. They may add one of the following damage effects: attack area, intense, piercing, or vicious 1. Oh, well, so that changes things a little bit. So we could add vicious of 1, but we had to charge it. So I think my phasers would have been set for that for a while, so they would have been charging. So vicious 1. I do 3 damage, vicious 1. And that means I do 6 damage to our commander here. Commander has a stress of 12, so she now has 6. Well, no, actually I take that back, because she has a resistance of 3. So she can roll 3 dice. So she takes 4 points. Okay, so 12. She's down to 8. Okay. The only problem is now I have everything hitting, and unfortunately, if this was in the movies, I'd be able to just hit and kill her, which is where this really should go. But going through the combat, now I'm just going to get plastered all over the place. Because if I knew that she was the main bad guy, I wouldn't, I can't let, as much as Starfleet says, hey, let's preserve life, unfortunately, I can't let one life enslave another life. I can't allow that to happen, so that's my protocol. Let me read through this, but I did hit once, and we did have first attack, and I'm going to say it's like in the show where I just vaporized her, but after the power room, the corridor turns left. Okay, so let's see here. We have the blue lights inside the gateway dissipates and reveals a lifeless landscape of cragged stones. and an ocean that boiled away. Long ago, the dim white dwarf of this star in the pitch black sky, the planet is a distant region in our region in our galaxy, devoid of other life, other stars. A single dying star beyond the stars. The Romulan commander lets out an inhumane cry and drops to her knees before the portal. Like the actress on the stage performing her final monologue. Alright, so we're just... I guess this is her dying. No, it cannot be. All these centuries I have led my children through the stars in search of a world to colonize before our own died. All of these centuries wasted. It cannot be. 6 years ago I heard my sister's distant signal from Earth. I came in answer, but our ship crashed on this world. We fled our broken host bodies for these Romulans. They had already discovered the gateway. They'd done so much work for us. I had finally found our salvation, but I am too late. Our world is dead, but we are the last of our kind. She tells the other Romulans to put away their weapons as she addresses the player characters directly. We are at your mercy. In exchange of our lives, I offer our services. We seek peace, but not war. Leave the Romulans to us, and we will leave the Federation and your allies alone. And when we have gained full control of the Romulan Star Empire, we will sue for peace to so ending decades of hostilities between our governments. Together we usher in a new era, a new beginning. And in my version, she would be dying. In the conclusion here, there are several things that the players may want to explore, wrapping things up. I'm sure the Romulans would kind of come to, be a little jostled. Player characters, let's see, I'll read this. There are several things the players may want to explore, wrapping this final mission. What becomes of Ensign Lassell? What of Taldaran and his genetic research involving the neural parasites? Genetic engineering is outlawed in most of the Federation, and if Taldaran became an ally, will the player characters speak in his defense? Will they destroy his data or hand it over to Starfleet Command? If Commander I can't pronounce that name, became an ally, how might this affect the player characters' future missions that involve the Romulans? The player characters will also need to deal with any potential repercussions from their superiors in Starfleet. For example, if they took the mother creature's offer, they may face disciplinary actions. If they destroyed her, they may face more personal repercussions and guilt because they could not find a peaceful solution. They destroyed the last of a species. The player characters might play their choice over and over in their heads, looking for another option. Of course, if they did not destroy the mother creature, there will be much work to do rooting out the parasitic infiltration. And that's it for this. So as you can tell, I run guns first, questions later. I am a little bit more of that sense. Knowing kind of where things were going, I think there's a lot of groups out there that are going to do it. There's going to be other groups that are very sympathetic with them. In my campaign, you saw I come in, I see someone that looks like they are the leader. I'm shooting first. Let's kill that person. Hopefully we just take care of all the other creatures, and we'll go from there. It does kind of wrap up a very big lingering thread. Now, I'm not going to say that this completely takes care of the thread. Maybe there's another sibling out there that one forgot, or maybe one of these had created another mother creature or something. I don't know how they make them. if it's like an ant colony, sometimes, or like a bee colony or something, sometimes they can make new creatures. Maybe there's another one going somewhere else that starts somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I think the way I would play this out is that sugars. The scientist that we were dealing with, let's just say perhaps that scientist has another one of these starting off as a queen that nobody else knew about and starts their own from here. I don't know. And that's going to be like a thread out there that, we would turn over what information, but if we don't have that scientist, then there's a scientist slips away, what do we know? So that's where I'm going to leave it. That's how we're going to have it. Starting next week, I'm going to start having my own campaign. So the ship that we had, that's probably the ship that we're going to start with. I might make a couple changes to it or whatever else. We'll go from there. We'll do things how we do things and see how good or bad we do. I may do a little bit more of what the captain's log sounds. That intrigues me because it's a little bit more talking through it than the actual rolling of the dice. A little bit more story-ish, a little less dice because I do so horrible with the dice, although I have had some very successful rolls here. I don't know, we'll figure things out. We'll go from there, we'll figure things out, we'll see how we do. With all of that, hey, thank you for sitting around the pool table with me today. Hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully this helps out with ship combat, and during the week I will try and get out 2 small shuttles or something to have them go through combat against each other. It doesn't matter how they win or lose or whatever. This is just going to be a simulation, and we may very well end up with some holodeck adventures going through some of this. The idea for the ship that I have in mind really is a training ship. There's going to be a lot of ensigns, only a couple lieutenants, a couple lieutenant commanders, and a captain. A little bit of a couple experienced personnel, more of a training ship, more to deal with some smaller stuff and that, really to help us learn everything. Okay, and that's my goal. That way you can listen to how I do things. If I give you ideas, great. If it's just something funny to listen to, I don't know how much I'll try to make it. I got a soundboard from Steam, so maybe I can get some other sounds and some other things going. Make it a little bit more entertaining while you sit here, drink a soda or whatever your favorite drink is, and maybe munch on some chips or something. But make it fun and entertaining as well as still something to learn. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this. We made it through. I don't know how many times I actually would have died. After the first time I lost count, maybe 2, 3, 4 times, something like that. But that's why I'm kind of leaning a little bit less rolling the dice and a little bit of other stuff. So with that being said, thanks again. We'll see you in the next video. Hope you had fun. We'll see you later.